We'll keep doing that kind of thing, but we're going to bring on the first one. He is a good friend. He's played here before. He's a very funny man. Let's start welcoming to the stage with a nice gentle applause. Very good. Now double that applause and the cheering. Welcome, Mr. Nik
Every time. Well, this is nice. Ashley's managed to upset the man from Margate, the man from the Isle of Man. You've just realised you're not dark anymore. And he had to go at you about your Christmas jumper and no idea what street food is. Look at the size of it. That's not true, is it? And we've only a few people in from Brailes, is that right? Yeah, because I did this gig in June 2023, and I've got to be honest, it was brilliant, because I had 15 minutes of material just taken straight from your Facebook page alone. So when Ashley booked me to do this again, I've been monitoring your Facebook page. And obviously what's happened is your administrators got together after that gig and said, right, no more stupid posts, no comments, because there's been fuck all on your pages ever since. So I thought, oh, this is going to be, I'm going to have to actually do some proper material, so that's difficult. So I thought I'd do something a bit topical. Obviously, the BBC have now just dropped themselves in it with the whole Greg Wallace scenario. Was that news filtered through to Brailes yet? Do we?
No. Who? Greg? Who?
Everyone's jumping on the bloody bandwagon. The celebrities are jumping on the bandwagon. Only today, I saw a post. Mary Berry, Prue Leith have been outraged, absolutely gutted, disappointed that in the 25 years they've been appearing on the same show as Greg Wallace, he has never once touched them or said anything inappropriate. Right, that was new material I wrote this afternoon. I was quite pleased with that. I've got to be honest, I normally start gigs by saying I'd like to address the elephant in the room. Did that a few months back. I had no idea there was 5 people in from the local Weight Watchers. I mean, I just... that would be a bit like the pot calling the kettle black, wouldn't it, to be quite honest. I'm aware I need to lose a bit of weight. My wife's been very supportive in that. About a month ago, I came out of the shower naked, said, what do you think, Daniel Craig or what? And she went, more like Humpty Dumpty. Again, I thought that would go down far better. And another thing she suggested, she said, why don't you try, but especially when you're going out gigging, why don't you try just wearing all black? Because it's slimming. I thought, clearly she's lying, but I did a gig a couple of weeks ago, and I just went on stage, and before I'd even started, this bloke just shouted out, mate, you look like the bloke off the milk tray advert. Now, I know there's a certain demographic in this room that will not understand that reference, you especially, because you're quite young. But I thought, I've got to deal with that. I've got to deal with that heckle. So I said, thanks for that. I said, but I am neither tall, dark, nor handsome, but I'll take it. He went, no. I didn't mean him. I meant the other bloke. And I thought, oh, I've got you now. I'm going to bring you down in front of this crowd. So I said, brilliant. Okay. So please tell the gathered throng, which other bloke are you referring to? And he just said, you look like the bloke who ate all the chocolates. I did. I joined Cinnamon World. I don't know if anybody joined a local Cinnamon World group. There's one just round the corner from me, our local primary school. And I went along. I thought, I've got to make an effort, got to lose some weight. And I went in, and this lady came up to me. She said, "Hi, my name's Chris. I'm your counsellor." And I thought, I don't need counselling. I just need to lose some weight. She said, don't worry, you're not the only new person here today. Mary here, she's new. I said, oh, hi Mary. And she looked at me, she said, is your name Nik? I said, yeah, why? And then she said those 6 words no bloke ever wants to hear. you don't remember me, do you? And I'm looking at her thinking, I'm thinking, oh my God, I know I was desperate in the 80s, but please tell me I haven't. And she rescued me. She said, you used to work in recruitment, and I used to be one of your temps. Oh, thank God for that. And then she said, you haven't changed. Well, I think the last time I saw was 1989. In 1989, I was 8 stone 6. I've put on the equivalent of 35 bags of sugar since then. And I'm looking at her thinking, not only do you need to be here, I think after this you better book an appointment at Specsavers. But Chris said, listen, what's going to happen is you two are going to go and be weighed if you want to go and join the queue. And I don't know if you've been to Slimming World, but basically there's queues and you get up to be weighed, and at the end of the queue there's these 2 stick insects with smug looks on their face and badges saying super slimmer than monk. And I joined this one queue, and the lady in front of me, her shoulders were going up and down, and I could hear her quietly sobbing. I said, are you all right? She turned around, oh my God, I've tried really hard this week. And I'm looking at her thinking, you fucking haven't. She said, I've been right to the top of Robbinswood Hill, which is a local beauty spot. I said, well, that's brilliant. That's good for, cardiovascular. I'll get the heart pumping. She said, I walked all the way back down. I said, of course you did. So why are you crying? So there's a chip shop at the bottom. So we got weighed and we went back, and Chris said, take a seat. And as I said, this was at a local primary school, so I looked down, there was these 2 little plastic chairs. I thought, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't. I got stuck in mine. But she said, right, she said, I'm just going to ask you questions and just say the first thing that comes into your head. Whatever comes into your head, just say it. She said, out of anybody in the world, whose body do you most admire or crave? And I don't know to this day where it came from, but I just said Tom Daly. Mary was sat next to me. She said, I never knew. I said, no, I'm not, and I've not been back, to be quite honest. But the elephant in the room I was actually referring to was my height. Okay, because you must have realised I'm not particularly tall. I'm 5'2", 62 inches. Or as my wife likes to say, that's fractionally taller than 5 plastic wheels. They were balanced over there. That's a little bit high. She has been, I've got to be honest, she has been one of the main protagonists. Because after we got together, we went on a date, and then she said, should we see each other on the weekend? I said, yeah, that would be nice. And she said, well, do you want to do something? I said, yeah. How about going to Alton Towers? And she said, is there any point you going? And then after we were married, she came on one day, because she worked in a school. She said, oh, we've been doing nature today. Okay, and she said, well, have you realised you're only 5 inches taller than the largest emperor penguin ever recorded? Gutted, absolutely gutted. I've been doing comedy years, and I used to start gigs with, oh, it's nice to be here in wherever. And I'll just let you into a little comedic secret. You'll probably hear a lot of acts say that when you go see comedy shows. Nobody ever means it. It's just a way of trying to get you onto our side. But I've stopped doing it, because I did a gig in Ashton Keynes near Cirencester back in the summer, and I just went on and said, hi, my name's Nik Hill, I'm from Gloucester, lovely to be here in Ashton Keynes. And straight away this woman put her hand up. She said, oh, young man, I know you're from Gloucester, so we can make some allowances for you. And I know it's spelled Keynes, K-E-Y-N-E-S, but here in the village, we prefer to pronounce it Keynes. I hope you don't mind. No, that's absolutely fine. It does make you sound like a bit of a pretentious cunt. That's C-A-N-T, but I pronounce it, and I've not been asked back. I do come from Gloucester. I'm sure we're all aware of Gloucester. Was that just a groan then? Probably sums up what you think about Gloucester. I mean, I've lived there all my life, and you know, we do all right. I mean, we've got a cathedral that was used for the Harry Potter films. We've got the docks that was used for other films, but we can't compete with the Forest of Dean. And Puzzle Wood, are we all aware of the Forest of Dean? And Puzzle Wood in the Forest of Dean was used for the Star Wars film, which was, I mean, that was a brilliant cue for the forest, fantastic. And people say, what's the forest like? And I think for me, the easiest way to describe it is, if you can remember back to that first Star Wars film, where our heroes walk into that cantina bar, and it's full of people with like 8 fingers on one hand, 2 heads, walk into any pub in the forest on a Saturday night. And just to cement that even further, there was an article in a local paper a few years back about a man from Cinderford who'd been accused of having sexual intercourse with a wild boar whilst under the influence of alcohol. And I thought, how much alcohol would a wild boar need? The other thing about Gloucester is probably the most famous thing we're famous for is the cheese roll. We were aware of the cheese roll. And I've lived in Gloucester all my life. I've never done the cheese roll. But next year I have decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to tick it off my bucket list. I've been training really hard, rolling the baby bell down my drive. That's what And one of the last cheese rolls, because it was banned on health and safety reasons, but one of the last cheese rolls that was held, BBC Southwest came up to film it. And one of the winners of one of the races was a 15-year-old girl from a particularly rough part of Gloucester called Kylie. And they interviewed afterwards and they said, Kylie, you've entered the race, you've won, what would you like to say? And she said, well, yeah, I did enter the race and I did win and I'm very surprised. And they said, why are you surprised, Kylie? And at that moment I thought, oh, Kylie, this is your opportunity. Say something really profound. Say something to make Gloucester proud. Say something like, well, look at me. I left school when I was 13. Everyone wrote me off, my teachers, my friends, my family. They said I never amount to nothing. I've got 3 kids already by 4 different dads. Sorry, 5 kids. I thought, do you know what, Kylie? This is your chance to shine. And I trained really hard. I pushed myself every day, wind, rain, snow. And I thought, you can prove something. You can prove to people who've doubted you that you're worth something. And I got to the top of that hill and I looked down and I just couldn't see anything apart from the bottom, and I thought, I'm going to do this. And they let the cheese go and I ran and I was tumbling head over heels. I was like banging across the grass, I was bumping into people, but I was just so focused. I wanted to prove to everybody I was worth something, and I did. That's what I wanted her to say. What came out of Kylie's mouth to the question, why are you surprised, was simply this: I don't even like cheese. Yeah, you can't make it up, can you? So I retired in March 2023, so I've just spent the last 18 months with my wife. Oh God, that's why it's good to be out. And we just got to that stage. I've got to be honest. We just got to that irritating stage. It's nothing major. The breathing. And if we're out in the car and we're coming up to a junction and I want to turn right, I say, is it safe to go? She go, yeah. And as I'm pulling out, as long as you're quick. Like, she doesn't work. I've got to be honest, it has been a bit of a voyage of discovery with her over the past 18 months, because I've discovered she's got a real talent for musical theatre, which I didn't know about before, because basically she can make a fucking song and dance about anything. But it has been quite strange being retired, and I wasn't that prepared for it. I didn't realise how much time, apparently it's obligatory, you have to spend at garden centres. That's where we seem to spend an awful lot of time, and we go to one near us. We go so often, I've got a loyalty card. And I went there in August and I just had the coffee and I gave the loyalty card over, and the lady said, oh, congratulations, it's your birthday. I said, yeah, I know. She said, well, that's lucky, isn't it? I said, right, is it? She said, oh yeah. I said, okay. Did you know the average life expectancy for a male in the UK is 74? So at the moment, at best, I've got fucking 8 years left. How is that lucky? She said, well, no, because now you qualify for one of our senior citizen discount cards. And I'm thinking, just fucking shoot me now. So I took the card, and as I'm walking away, she said, because the thing is, she said, you get 30% off a roast lunch on a Monday, and it looks like you'll enjoy a roast. And I'm fuck off, just. And I'm looking at this card, and she is right. You do get 30% off a roast lunch on a Monday, served between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m. And I thought, who the hell eats a roast lunch on a Monday between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m.? Well, since last August, I have been. I've got to be honest, I'm not keen on this getting older business. It's pretty hard. I'm attending far more funerals of friends and stuff than anything else. And it sort of brings it a little bit home to you, your own mortality. And then you get people saying, oh, he was a lovely bloke and the way he died, that's how he would have wanted. And I'm thinking, I hope they don't say that about me at my funeral, because I know how I want to die. I just want to die peacefully in my sleep. I certainly don't want to die in the middle of Tesco shopping. I certainly don't want to die if I'm out in the car driving, and I certainly don't want to die during sex. If my wife found out, she'd bloody kill me. But you do realise, the end's going to come, and you've got to be ready for it. And my mum died back in 2019, and she had dementia. So it was a release. I've got to be honest. And when she died, she had a funeral plan with the co-op, and as a last surviving son, I had to go and sort it out. And I went into the co-op and said, I'm Nik Hill, I'm Nik Hill's son. Come sort a funeral plan out. She said, well, have a seat. So I just sat down. She said, how old are you? I said, well, what's that got to do with anything? Well, I said, I'm 63 at the minute. Okay. Have you got a funeral plan? I went, no. Well, you should, because you could go at any time. I said, oh. She said, do you know what it entails? I said, well, yeah, roughly. I said, well, look, if you pay us $4,500 now, you can plan the whole day. You can be buried or cremated. You can decide where you want the wake. You could have a band, a disco. You could even say what food you want. You could put some money over the bar. If you want people to wear fancy dress, they can wear fancy. Whatever you want, you can have. We had a conversation for 10 minutes, and at the end of it, I was looking forward to my own death. But Mum did die in 2019, and she'd never seen me do stand-up. And she sort of knew things weren't right. But she said, when you do gigs, will you talk about me and what happened? I said, well, she said, well, no, because it's sort of a way of keeping my memory alive. So I tell the story at every gig. I just need to give you a bit of backstory about my relationship with my mother. Otherwise, this is going to sound like I'm just a heartless bastard, to be honest. So luckily, I didn't have a bond with her. I was taken away from her literally when I was born, and I didn't go back and live with her until I was nearly 4. So I didn't have a maternal bond, and in the latter years that really helped. And if you don't know anything about dementia or people suffering with dementia, there's 3 characteristic traits. They're paranoid, and they tend to lose things, and they wander. Those are the 3 main traits. So Mum's paranoia was, as far as she was concerned, there was people living in a loft space. There were no people living in there. She used to lose things like bank cards and keys. She didn't. What she used to do was hide them, because she thought the people in the loft were going to steal them. So she'd hide them, and then I was forever having to replace bank cards and keys, which was a pain in the ass. And they wander, right? And Mum wandered loads and loads of times. Luckily, her neighbours managed to catch her. But she wandered the last time in September 2019, and I got a phone call from a neighbour and said, your mum's wandered. I said, right, okay. I was at a party, I phoned the police, and to be fair, the Gloucester police were brilliant. They found her literally within half an hour, took her to Gloucester Hospital. I went in there. She didn't know what the hell was going on. They kept her in all weekend, and on the Monday I got a call from this PC Davis to say, I'm your mum's safeguarding officer. I need to come and assess her. Can you meet me at the hospital tomorrow? So I met him at 6:30 at Gloucester Hospital. We're walking up to the 8th floor. We're just chatting. I said, how long have you been on police? He said, about 20 years. Okay. How long have you been safeguarding? He said, only about 4 months. I said, okay. Word of advice. Don't believe a fucking word she says. So we get up to the ward, and the atmosphere is really subdued, just like I managed to create in here tonight. There's about 4 ladies in the room, and Mum's in this bed here, and we go in. All right, Mum? I said, this is PC Davis. He's just going to have a chat with you. All right. Have you come to arrest me? And he's like, no, not come to arrest you, Jean. You're fine. Right. Have you come to arrest Nicholas? He said, no. Why would I arrest Nicholas? Has he told you he murdered his brother? And he's looking at me. I go, no, remember what I said, don't believe it. Because he's only just come out of prison as well. And he's looking at me again. I said, no, just ignore it. And by now, all the other people in the room had stopped talking and they were listening to see what she was going to say next. And then she came out with the classic, and of course he made me have sex with him before we were married. Right? This woman across the road said, that is absolutely disgusting. Well, it didn't happen. Look at her. She's not well. Clearly she's not well. That didn't happen. And I grabbed PC Davis and said, look, I'm sorry, I can't deal with this anymore. You've seen what she's like. Have you seen enough? You've got, no, I've seen enough. I said, right, let's go. I said, I just cannot deal with it. And we got to the door, and just as we were going to open the door like this, under her breath, and I don't know to this day whether she knew what she was saying or not, but she just said, it's that poor dog I feel sorry for. We got outside, and I said to him, I'm really sorry you had to experience that. He said, no, that's okay. I can see she's obviously in quite a state. But I do need to ask you a question. I said, well, I didn't murder my brother. He went, no, I'm sure. I said, I haven't been in prison. I went, he went, no. But, have you got a dog? And of course I had to say, well, yeah, we have, yeah. And he was like, right, so that bit's true then. Again, when I tell that story normally, it gets a much better reaction. Were you invested?
I was really invested.
True story, bless her. We have got a dog, and he's coming up to 6 now. And I must admit, I wasn't keen on. I mean, I love dogs. I've got to be honest, but I wasn't keen on getting a dog initially. And the main thing that put me off was the fact that obviously it's obligatory now that you have to pick up a dog's poo. Because as a kid growing up in the 60s, we didn't have to worry about that. It was just because of what they ate, the calcium just turned white, kicked it, turned to dust. That was it. Absolutely fine, no problem at all. And I'm just thinking, how weird must it have been for that first dog to have seen its owner pick up its poo for the first time. And I've got a little play that I'd like to reenact for you tonight, to recreate that moment. And it goes something like this. What are you doing? You what, sorry? You're picking up my poo? Well, yeah, I can see that. Why? You have to. What, just every time? Okay. And what are you using to pick it? That little bag? Looks a bit thin. Told you it was thin. And what are you going to do? You're going to carry it? Like a trophy? Fucking brilliant. I can't get home to wait to tell the cat. So he's back home. He's back home, calls the cat over. Come here. You won't believe this. He said, I've just been out with him and he picked up my poo and he's carried it all the way back. Well, I don't know if he'll do it for you. Yeah, but you've got that little tray, haven't you? You've got that tray you use, so I don't think he'll do it. I don't think he'll do it for you. All right, we'll give it a couple of weeks. See how you go. A couple of weeks go by. Dog's out for a walk, bumps into his best mate. You all right? He said, yeah, I'm over the moon. He said, what are you so happy for? He said, well, you know that cat I didn't like in the house? He went, yeah, he's gone. He said, why was that? He said, don't know. He said, but for the past 2 weeks, he's just been shitting all over the house. Again, that story normally goes down far. So that is my time. Thank you very much, Brailes. I would say you've been lovely, but I'm not going to fucking lie. Enjoy your Christmas. I'll hand you back to Ashley. Good night.